Okay, let me turn this off here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Music Man Access February.
All right. Slash Arknolia and the Doctor here.
Yo, I'll be on my Bluetooth headset because I got to get packing.
Oh, okay.
Shit, I got to get my fishing shit together. I got all kinds of shit tangled up and shit. I got leaders tangled up, but I'm gonna be, I'll be on mute. But when I get in, I'll pitch in. You know what I have to say. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, got you there.
But I'm here.
Okay.
And I hear Van Halen in the background. Yeah, baby. And this is from Fair Warning, if I'm correct, right? Yeah. Talk about it later. I remember it. This one here.
Dang, I typed in all these different, this is not going to be a one show thing. We're gonna have to stretch this out because there's so. I mean, you just look at the deaths in the past 10 years alone in rock music.
Yeah, there. Yeah, so we got lots to cover there.
Lemmy,
Lemmy from Motorhead. Scott Weyland from Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh yeah, all those deaths, and then you look at the deaths in the '90s, and there's a lot to cover. So this might be a good, nice miniseries.
Which most of them were contributed to heroin around the 1990s there, because you remember that shit was big around that period of time when the alternative scene was just getting out of the way there.
Okay. Okay, I'm thinking we start with the big one.
Yep. Let me guess. John Lennon, right?
No. That is a big one, but I'm talking about the first big one.
The day the music died.
Right. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, Big Bopper.
Right. J.P. Richardson died in a plane crash on its way to which I forget which city it was supposed to be.
Remember, we do have our
researcher here, Keith Rabarber.
Keith, are you here?
Yeah, give me like a minute.
All right, there we go. All right.
But yeah, that
I guess the story was that they were throwing little jokes here and there, and I guess Waylon Jennings, one of the performers on that particular tour there, I guess Jennings decided to take the busway to the next stop there, and I guess the boys who were heading out on the airplane said, "I hope your bus crashes there." Well, I guess, and Waylon Jennings said, "Well, I hope your plane crashes." Ha ha ha. And wouldn't you know, it eventually did crash. It admitted that it took him years to let go of that one, to even forgive himself for making such a remark. But then again, nobody really knew.
Right. How would you know?
You want me to look up? What do you want me to look up?
The day the music died, 1959.
Yeah, that was the first big one.
Keith, have you seen that movie?
La Bamba?
La Bamba?
Yeah.
No.
I've seen bits and parts of it. It stars Lou Diamond Phillips in the title role. Issei Morales as his brother.
That's a great movie. I've seen it a million times. You've probably seen it, Keith, if we put it on.
In fact, it even features music from Los Lobos, a Latino favorite, along the alternative music scene there. In fact,
are they a Texas band?
I think they're probably either that or Los Angeles. I'm thinking probably one of those two areas.
Yeah.
In fact, they're one of the first bands to be allowed inside the home of Richie Valens' place there.
Is this about like where the song American Pie came from?
Yes.
This is the inspiration. What happened there was the inspiration for that, for what happened there.
All right. On February 3rd, 1959, American rock and roll musicians Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Booper, J.P. Richardson, Bopper.
Oh, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Bopper, not Booper.
Oh, gosh.
Richardson were killed in a plane crash near Clear Lake, Iowa, together with pilot Roger Peterson.
I think it took them a day to find them.
Yeah.
After the show, I want to go listen to the song American Pie.
Good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because as we all know, that incident inspired the song right there, and that song became a massive hit for Don McLean.
Be sure and look for the 8-minute version, not the
Yep.
shortened one.
And
Yeah.
Yo, so wait,
Madonna
so
redid the song.
Brown, and hold on a
Keith,
minute,
hold
Brown
on,
and
Keith.
Brown
Yeah.
and Ark, were y'all alive, or y'all remember this when it happened, the day of?
Well, I wasn't even born yet at that time. I heard about it.
Bad.
It's okay, dude. I
I
heard
was
about
9
it.
years
The
old,
very,
but I hadn't discovered any of this yet.
you know, in fact, I think I remember hearing about it in the many stories there about rock and roll documentaries. I guess it was when I heard about that.
Yeah.
Did you know Madonna redid the song American Pie like in 2004?
Yes, and it
butchered
sucked ass. Sucked ass.
If we ever do our cover show, that's one we'll discuss and go,
Oh God.
why did she butcher that song?
I could think of something worse. Motley Crue covering "Like a Virgin."
Yeah.
My favorite one to say is bad is the girl that's married to Tim McGraw. I forgot her name.
Jim Faith Hill doing "Piece of My Heart," the
Yeah,
Janis
'cause
Joplin
it just-
composition. Doesn't kid. You got to have a raspy voice like Janis did.
Well, not only that,
And
you got to
Faith
show
Hill-
some emotion, not just sing it like it's a pop song.
I know. How about here's something else? Celine Dion and some other female performer, on some VH1 Divas show, tried to do "You Shook Me All Night Long" by AC/DC.
Huh. Some people need to leave certain songs alone.
I know. But yeah, I could think of something even worse. Mariah Carey trying to cover a Def Leppard tune. Bringing on the Heartbreak?
You wonder what gets into these people to try this.
I don't know. And I don't even know. I don't even think oil would swim in any of their minds, let alone Mariah Carey. I'm sick and tired of hearing about her now. As of late, they got a commemorative issue on her. The Queen of Christmas. All I want for Christmas is for you to shut the fuck up.
One song.
Yeah, one song.
She talks about herself all day, and
Absolutely, she's
that
a
was the
diva.
latest thing. It was like 1 billion views. That Christmas song has surpassed like 1 billion views or something. She's like, oh my God, she's a good singer, but she's all about herself.
But we're sick and tired of hearing about her.
Well, there's another Christmas song. That's All I Want for Christmas. I don't remember if it's the same one or not, because to be honest, I've really never heard the Mariah Carey song.
Be glad.
It's by Vince Vance and the Valiants, and the female singer that sings that song is phenomenal. But it's Vince Vance and the Valiants, All I Want for Christmas.
Yeah.
Mariah Carey has 2 Christmas songs. The
Oh,
other
boy.
one is,
The Carpenters
Oh,
have
God.
2 whole Christmas albums.
yeah, but
Yeah.
the other Christmas song Mariah Carey has is "Christmas, Baby, Please Come Home."
Which is, by the way, have been done a couple of times before. I think U2 did a cover of that.
Yeah, and Michael Bublé did a cover of that.
Well, there's no. Well, I've got to say this. Let Me Kill Mister, who we'll get to later on this program. He did a cover version of "Run Rudolph Run," which was originally written and done by Chuck Berry. That would be the only Christmas tune I would dig, because one, it's not one of those sappy Christmas songs, and 2, it's done by Lemmy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, who else died?
Let's see. Well, we also remember in the night. Well, of course,
Let's stay in the 60s first and then move on.
All right. Well, I know that a couple other artists died. Bobby Fuller died there. There was a lot of mystery surrounding his death there. I know we were talking about that many episodes back there.
Yeah, because the way it was investigated, it made it look like a cover-up. And they said he committed suicide, but it's pretty hard to commit suicide when your hands are duct taped together.
And plus, there's another mystery surrounding Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was found, dead in his pool down at the ground bottom there, and I guess there was speculation that he probably owed money or owed some drug dealer some sort of amount of dollars, and who knows what there. He may have been stolen out of his mind when that happened there.
Yeah, it was a very mysterious death.
I know.
And then one
So
that
they,
a little later in the 60s, which is probably one you guys have never heard of.
mm-hmm.
There was a singer by the name of Bob Cuban who did a song called "Have You Heard About the Cheater?" And he was killed by his wife and her lover,
Oh,
and
wow.
dumped into a well.
Oh, my gosh. Are you seriously? So she probably realized,
That was probably an ironic song.
yeah, no, it was about her, obviously, and then she wanted to pay him back for degrading her in that tune there.
Yeah. Actually, I think the subject of the song was a guy, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, but then again, when you're fooling around on your significant other and you hear this tune about a cheater, even though it's not about you, hell yeah, you're going to be pissed off.
Yeah, because in your mind you're going to be thinking,
"How dare they degrade me?" Blah.
Let's see, who else in the 60s? Oh, Otis Redding.
Yeah,
He
that's
went
right.
down
He
in
died
a plane.
Yeah, as well. In fact, I guess he was one of his last great performances was at the Monterey Pop Festival. There was a compilation album, both the Jimi Hendrix Experience and Otis Redding, on each side of that album. Side one was Otis Redding. He was doing his music, including the cover of "Can't Get No Satisfaction."
Yeah.
And of course, Jimi Hendrix did his was on the side two there, including his rousing version of Wild Thing, the Trogs tune there, which he eventually destroys his guitar and sets it ablaze.
Yeah, and he's another one we can talk about too because he died young.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
27.
I believe his was drug related, I think.
Yeah, apparently was. He apparently took some drugs too. I don't know what he took, whether it was sleeping pills or this and that there. And apparently, I don't know. I don't know if he drank alcohol along with it. If he did, bad choice. But I guess it just wasn't. Let's face it, folks. Any kind of alcohol mixed in with sleeping pills are a bad idea altogether.
Yes, I agree.
Then you got Mama Cass Elliot, who died
who apparently
choking on a sandwich, apparently.
Now, according to legend, no, that's according to many rumors.
Right.
According to the members of the Mamas and the Papas themselves, apparently her heart eventually gave out because she was one heavy-ass girl there.
She weighed about the same as two girls.
I know. She was, but yet she had a damn good voice.
Yeah.
She later became a sort. She later decided to depart from the Mamas and the Papas because she got tired of all the bitching between the three remaining members, Michelle, John, and Dennis.
Right. And she had a pretty good solo career.
Yeah, unfortunately now she's gone. Unfortunately, she's been gone. I think it was 1972.
I believe so.
I think it was. Yeah.
Then you had Jim Croce.
Who died from another plane crash. Yeah, he was on his way to do a performance there. He was friends with Arlo Guthrie, Cheech Marin of Cheech and Chong there. They were good buddies there. And I guess,
his career was short, but it was pretty good.
Yeah. He was one of the top folk singers around the 1970s there. He wrote some really classic tunes up there. Operator, I Got a Name, and of course, Bad Bad Leroy Brown.
Yep.
Essential song from him there.
Yeah.
You don't mess around with Jim.
And then we also lost Terry Chapin.
Terry
in
Chapin,
an airplane crash.
Terry Chapin. Harry Chapin. That's right. My bad. He was the guy who wrote that song Taxi back in the 70s, just as well there. About
WOLD.
Yes. Yeah, that was he wrote that song Taxi was about a taxi driver getting stoned there when he realizes that his next passenger was his old flame there from high school. He even wrote a sequel to that song back in 1981 before his passing.
Yeah. He had a pretty good career and a pretty good Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah, which of course you remember the Ugly Kid Joe covered in the early '90s there. In
Yeah.
fact, he was one of the I guess he was one of the first musicians out there to get involved with ending world hunger, from what I understand there.
Yeah. And when we talk about her, you mentioned the name Terry Kath.
From Chicago, who apparently shot himself for some oddball reason there.
He was apparently playing Russian roulette and, well, lost.
Lost. Yeah, I know. And if you're going to play Russian roulette, make sure it's not with a weapon, okay?
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on there.
I
That
don't
was
know.
weird.
I guess that the idea was like, you can't do this. You're not a brave man. You're a chicken shit. That's how. I guess that's how peer pressure was back then. Got to remember at that time you either had to do what everybody else done, or else you were considered chicken.
Yeah.
And at that time, it wasn't like walk away from it. Don't be a fool. Like they say nowadays.
Yeah, now I'm trying to remember who else we got from that era. Well,
All right.
pretty much everybody, but Jim Morrison.
Oh yeah, who apparently what it was.
Hold
is that
on.
What, Bubba?
Did you mention Elvis?
That would come later on.
All right, my bad.
That's
That's
right.
okay. I mean, Elvis was a 60s guy, 50s guy, actually.
Yeah, 70s guy. But
Yeah.
his death would not occur until 1977.
Yeah.
Keith, did you watch the movie? I guess what was it? It was called The Doors.
The Doors, yeah,
Val
1991.
Kilmer.
Val Kilmer is Jim Morrison. Channeled him damn well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of the Doors, I don't know if Densmore and Krieger's still alive, but Manzarek's gone.
I know, yeah. Well, they both are here. Ray Manzarek. He died in 2013 there,
Yeah.
and he had a lot of He was he was very fucking critical of the Oliver Stone movie there. He was saying in a couple of interviews, no, this did not happen. They tried to they told the details, what really happened and what did not happen. Of course, Oliver Stone, according to him, did not listen. But then again, they're going to switch things around, to make the movie more appetizing, to make it more appealing to a mass audience.
Yeah, it's funny because it's the same accusations that's been made about Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah,
Is that a lot
the
of
movie.
that is not true and never happened.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the Queen movie that came out a couple of years back there.
Yeah. But at any rate, we got Jim Morrison gone. We got,
Jimi Hendrix gone.
yeah,
And of course, Janis Joplin.
right.
All died at the age of 27. They were the first, members of the 27 Club, as they would now call it there.
Yeah, had a few more members come along later.
Yeah.
Then, like YR mentioned, we lost Elvis.
Yeah, 1977, August of that year. I remember hearing it on the radio with my mom, my sister,
Yeah.
and a couple of her buddies there.
And around the same time, John Lennon.
Yeah. Well, actually, a few years later,
Well,
1980.
yeah, when I meant round, I meant, not the same year, but close.
Yeah. Pretty much closer. And that really blew me away there when John Lennon got murdered there.
Yeah.
I remember it was a Tuesday. The announcement was made on Monday Night Football with Howard Cosell and Frank Gibbard. They were in the middle of the game there, and they got the news report, what just happened there. Every station the following Tuesday afterwards was playing Beatles music left and right. The hard rock stations, soft rock stations, you name it. AM radio, the talks radio was all up on it there. It was a massive shock to the system everywhere. It was even massive shock to New York City because, as you know, John Lennon moved to New York City there as a permanent resident there. He loved New York City, and in turn, New York loved him back. You look at the official video for Mind Games, and it shows you the interaction between everybody in New York and John Lennon.
Yeah,
Lennon, people approaching him, he's signing autographs, having fun, and this and that. Even shows a bit of him attending the the broad the Broadway version of Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which eventually became the movie in 1978.
Yeah. And let's see. Well, of the Beatles, you also got George Harrison, throat cancer in the
Yeah,
2000s. So I don't remember
yeah,
exactly when.
2000. It was in 2001 there. That surprised me because I didn't really think he had cancer there, but then again, you can never tell.
That's true.
Yeah. You
So
don't
that,
always find out to the last minute there. With the same thing with David Bowie a couple years
yep,
back there.
yep. And then, of course, you've only got one monkey left,
Yeah, I know, and that's Mickey Dolenz.
right?
Mike Nesmith died a couple of days ago there. We lost Peter Tork a couple years back there, and then with the first to go was Davey Jones, and that was
Yeah,
2000.
that was kind of a surprise because when the time was coming for whoever was going to go, Davy Jones was the one that I figured.
To still be around.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know, and we got to definitely dig into the '90s depths because there was a lot of people passed away in the '90s there.
yeah,
You
you
know,
got
of course,
Kurt.
some of them was because of the same drug, heroin.
Yeah,
One of the members of Courtney Love's band, Hole, she died from a heroin overdose there. Dwayne Goetel from the industrial group Skinny Puppy, he was found dead in the appearance of his house from an heroin overdose there. About almost 2.5 months later, after the band officially broke up that year, Shannon Hu died from heroin there. And there's no secret that possibly heroin may have played a part in the suicide of Kurt Cobain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is why one of the reasons why we speak out about against drug use here. All we seem to do is destroy,
yep,
and it destroys the people around you as well there. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, I guess, the singer Lana Del Rey made a song or some remarks about not wanting to live. And Frances Bean Cobain, Kirk's daughter, went after her before doing that. Because remember, because we all know the reason why there.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see who else do we have here.
hmm
Jack Bruce,
From
Ginger Baker,
Cream. Yeah, from Cream, making Eric Clapton the only one original member of Cream left there.
Felix Pappalardi, Leslie West.
From the band Mountain.
Let's see. I'm doing these off the top of my head. Um, what was his name? James Dewar, the singer for Robin Trower.
I think that, yeah, I remember hearing that he died just as well there. I don't know what year it was
Oh, it's
or what the
pretty
cause
long
was as
time
well.
back.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. And of course, we lost two members of the Moody Blues, Ray Thomas and their drummer, Graham Edge.
Right.
I have pictures, like collage of people. Some of them I never seen, but y'all probably recognize them. I'll send them.
All right. Yeah, go ahead, dear. We'll definitely give a take on that.
Yeah, I was trying to remember some of the others that we lost.
Yeah. Going back to the Beatles, John Lennon's passing there. I remember there was a little story that there was a phone conversation between, John Lennon and Paul McCartney for years, have not spoken to one another since the breakup,
Right.
since the circumstances leading to the breakup there. And I guess what it was is that they had a little phone conversation for how many hours. They didn't speak business. They didn't talk about what broke up the band. They just talked about, oh, I got this little cat. He's a little pest at times. Oh, I live in this house now, here and there, and family houses. It was still one of those casual conversations there. And it was good that they finally got to do that because, if I hadn't spoke to someone for God knows how long, after a tremendous falling out, and they'll find out that they would pass, I'll be like, geez, man, I should at least, reach out to the guy to see how he was doing there before he passed on.
Then a guy you probably haven't heard of, Mike Smith, Dave Clark 5.
Oh, wow. Let's see there.
That
Yeah.
was some years ago, too.
Yeah. That's something there. Yeah. I'm looking at the images YR gave me in there. We lost Eddie Money as well there.
Oh, yeah.
We also lost Rick Ocasek from the Cars, who now joins Benjamin Ord, the bass player. I guess he died. Forgot what it was, year it was there. Son of a name go. Possibly been in the early 2000s, I think it was. And he passed away there. And of course, we have, of course, Eddie Van Halen, the guitar god, passed away in October. Keith Emerson from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Greg Lake, leaving Carl Palmer by his lonesome there. Neil Peart of Rush, who died the exact day that I went to see The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is kind of an ironic one in a way. Dwayne Allman, and then a year later...
From the Allman Brothers.
Yeah,
Greg would join them.
No, a year later, pretty much the story I heard was a block or two from when Dwayne had his motorcycle accident. Barry Oakley from the Allman Brothers had a motorcycle accident and died.
Wow, it's something. Wow, that was
almost
something.
Almost a year to the day. It was pretty close. And then, yeah, Greg Allman's gone.
Oh, yeah. He died. I guess he died a couple years back there, from what I understand there. So I guess that puts it into the Allman Brothers, I guess. Of course, Dickie Betts, he's probably, like, crying. He's probably been crying his eyes out because, you remember, he was let go from the group there from under bad terms, I guess.
Yeah. Then we lost Sonny Bono.
Yes, Cher's ex-husband there. Who apparently, guess, what it was is that the story was he was skiing.
Right.
And it kind of like, I don't know if it was dark outside or if somebody was
essentially ran into a tree.
Like that. And now in the cartoon world there, like the WB or the MGM classics, they would still be alive. They'd be like, boing, but unfortunately, real life is not like the cartoons.
Right.
He perished massively for that. I remember Cher really was crying her eyes out during his eulogy there. Because she did really thank him for giving her a start.
Mm-hmm. And you had, oh gosh, I just had one in my head.
Ooh.
I lost it.
All right, go ahead. Well, let me continue on. We also lost blues great B.B. King. We also lost Chris Squire of Yes, the bass player there. We also lost, Tom Petty a couple years back. I think it was 2017.
Yeah, Tommy Bolin.
Tommy Bolin from who played in the James Gang and in Deep Purple. Aretha Franklin, Leonard Cohen, as we mentioned, Greg Lake from Emerson, Lake and Palmer and King Crimson. Glenn Frey, a Royal Oak, Michigan native from the Eagles and his solo career.
Yeah.
Chuck Berry passed away a couple years back. He was considered the father of rock and roll and major influence on the Beatles. In fact, when John Lennon was named to be the co-host of the Mike Douglas show for a week, one of the people he was granted to invite was Chuck Berry. Of course, I'm looking at also here. Let's see. David Bowie passed away in 2016, a couple months before Prince did. And in between that, Denise Matthews, a.k.a. Vanity, from Vanity 6, a Prince protege group, she died from liver failure. But apparently what it was is that she was on the dialysis for a long while there because imagine the amount of drugs that she was doing back in the 1980s.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like to hear, somebody on dialysis dying.
Oh, I know. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Does that mean your kidney failed?
They're either failing or failed.
Oh.
Okay.
Malcolm Young from AC/DC. He died from dementia in the same year, 2017 there.
That's who I
apparently
was
what it
thinking
was,
of, actually.
yeah. Apparently what it was is that he was having trouble remembering some AC/DC songs there for a long while. And of course, he now joins Bon Scott, who passed away in early 1980 from too much alcohol. Apparently, the story was he was drinking, masturbating at a bar, went to his car to sleep it off, and apparently choked on his own vomit and never woke up.
Mm.
And of course, here's these two are kind of like coincidental when you think about it there. Chris Cornell of Soundgarden, who passed away a couple years back there. He died. Him and the boys were doing a 2-night stand at the Fox Theater back in Detroit. And this happened at the, I guess it was the Motor City Casino Hotel residency of that building there. A news report went out that he had committed suicide there. And a couple months later, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park, who also stepped in as a kind of like a fill-in frontman for the Stone Temple Pilots, he passed away from the same thing, suicide. And I'm listening to this, like, wow, this is something here. You kind of wonder if it's one of those special kind of relationships, like where if the other is gone, the other cannot carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we got to talk about Scott Weyland. It's just as well there because, he passed away in 2015. And you remember that little thing that I read for you when his old band's name was brought up from his ex-wife there. I remember reading that again.
Yeah.
Now, does anybody want me to reread that statement from his ex-wife? Or it's just...
I don't think it hurt.
Well, I'm going to look it up right now, and you go ahead and continue.
Okay, and we got... I'm pretty sure Paul Kantner from Jefferson Airplane.
And Jefferson Starship. He passed away, I guess it was 2016, just as well there.
You got Bob the Bear Height from Canned Heat.
Yeah.
Alan Wilson from Canned Heat.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which I'm sure I'm hearing in the background people going, who? Who?
Canned Heat. Got to look it up, folks, there. Ex-wife. 8 minutes.
Let's see who else we got.
Mm-hmm. Here we go there.
Oh, what was his name? From Classics 4, Dennis Yost.
Dennis Yost, yeah. I remember hearing that name a few times. It was...
And Alex Chilton.
Alex Chilton from the Box Tops and his solo work just as well there. Big cult favorite there. He had a band called Big Star along the way, and I guess that band would influence a lot of bands there. Okay, I got this right now. This is from Mary Weyland, the mother of Scott Weyland's teenage children. She wrote this thing there with after the days after her husband's death on December 3rd, 2015. Here's what she wrote. Let me get ready here, because it's a long-ass statement. Now, as I mentioned, I read this before, but it does bear repeating. It definitely needs to be repeated, because so many people out there get the impression, like, oh, he's a rock star. He doesn't care no more. Let's remember him as the rock star that he was. No, this one here has a different message here. Quote, unquote, December 3rd, 2015 is not the day Scott Weyland died. It is the official day that the public will use to mourn him. And it was the last day that he could be propped up in front of a microphone for the financial benefit of enjoyment for others. The outpouring of condolences and prayers offered to our children, Noah and Lucy, have been overwhelming, appreciated, and even comforting. But the truth is, like so many other kids, they've lost their fathers years ago. What they truly lost on December 3rd was hope. We don't want to downplay Scott's amazing talent, presence, and his ability to light up any stage with brilliant electricity. So many people have been gracious enough to praise his gift. The music is here to stay, but at some point, someone needs to step up and point out that yes, this will happen again. Because as a society, we almost encourage it. There's something popping up here. Let me get this out of the way here. I hate when it does that, man. Something pops up in the middle of the, there we go, now it's gone. We read awful show reviews, watch videos of artists falling down, unable to reach their lyrics or recall them, screaming onto a teleprompter just a few feet away, and then we click add to cart because that's what actually belongs in a hospital, is now considered art. Most of the artists have children with tears in their eyes, experiencing panic because their cries go unheard. You might ask, how are we to know? We read that we love spending time with his kids, that we have been drug-free for years, when in reality, what you didn't want to acknowledge was a paranoid man who couldn't remember his own lyrics, who have only been photographed with his children a handful of times in the 15 years of fatherhood. I've always wanted to share more than anyone was uncomfortable with. When writing the book years ago, it pained me to sometimes gloss over so much grief and struggle, but it did what I thought was best for Noah and Lucy. I knew that one day they would see and feel everything that I've been trying to shield them from, and that eventually he'd be brave enough to say, that was our father. We loved him, but a deep-rooted mix of love and disappointment made up the majority of our relationship with him. Even after Scott and I split up, I spent countless hours trying to claim his paranoid fits, pushing him into the shower, filling him up with coffee, just so that I could drop him into the ambulance at Noah's talent show or Lucy's musical. Those short encounters were my attempts of giving the kids a feeling of normalness with their dad. But anything longer would often turn into something scary and uncomfortable for them. Spending so many years immersed in Scott's multiple illnesses led me to my own depression. At one point, I was misdiagnosed as bipolar. I feared the same would happen to the kids. There were times that Child Protective Services did not allow him to be alone with them. When Scott did move on to another relationship, I hoped it would inspire him to grow. I had often encouraged him to date a normal girl, a woman who was also a mother, who also had the energy that I no longer had to love him. Instead, when he remarried, the children were replaced. They were not invited to his wedding. The checks of child support never arrived. Our once sweet Catholic boy refused to watch the kids participate in Christmas Eve plays because he was now an atheist. They had never set foot into his house, and they can't remember the last time they saw him on any Father's Day occasion. I don't share with this to you to cast judgment. I do so because you most likely know at least one child in the same shoes. If you do, please acknowledge them and their experience. Offer to accompany them to the father and daughter dance, or teach them how to throw a football. Even the bravest a boy or girl will refrain from asking for something like that. They may be ashamed, not want to inconvenience with you. Just offer. Even insist if you have to. This is the final step in our long goodbye to Scott. Even though I felt we had no other choice, Maybe we should have let him go. Or maybe these past few years of separation were his parting gift to us. The only way he could think think to soften what he knew would one day crush us deep into our souls. Over the last few years, I could hear his sadness and confusion when he called me late into the night up and cried about his inability to separate himself from negative people and bad choices. I won't say that he can rest now or that he is in a better place. He belongs with his children, barbecuing in the backyard, waiting for a Notre Dame game to come on TV there. We are sad and angry about this loss, but we are most devastated that he chose to give up. Noah and Lucy never saw perfection from their dad. They just kept hoping for a little effort. If you're a parent not offering or giving your best effort, all anyone asks is that you try a little hard and don't give up. Progress, not perfection, is what your children are praying for. Our hope for Scott has died, but there is still hope for others. Let's choose to make the first time we don't glorify this tragedy with the tale of rock and roll and the demons that, by the way, don't have to come with it. Skip the depressing T-shirts with saying, Scott Weyland, 1967 to 2015 on it. Use the money to take a kid to a ball game or out for ice cream. Official statement from Scott Weyland's ex-wife, Mary Forsberg Weyland, days after her ex-husband passed away.
And of course, any show of this nature, you got to mention Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, that's right. There, the frontman of Queen. Excuse me. There. Now, when I heard, now it's kind of funny is that around the same time, this needs to be brought up. Eric Carr, who took over Peter Criss's drum kit place in Kiss back in 1980.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
He died the exact same time Freddie Mercury did. The difference is, Freddie died from AIDS, which he had for a couple years there. Now, Freddie at that time, they announced that they were not going to do any more tours after they released their last studio. Actually, they put out a record called The Miracle back in 1989. The song I Want It All was a hit on the radio there. However, the problem is they decided not to tour there. And a lot of people say Freddie needs a break from the schedule here and there. Freddie's fine and this and that, when he really wasn't. The more and more they were seeing him, he was looking more frail. He wasn't looking well. And that encouraged the British press over there to start investigating on their own. So they were taking pictures of how he was looking. And you look at the last photos of Freddie before his passing, you can see he was a lot more skinnier. Or better yet, you view the video for These Are the Days of Our Lives. Old concert footage from the 80s there, mixed in with the footage from that video, tells you right there, something was up with that. Something was up with him. Of course, and plus, and of course, eventually, with all the speculation, all the rumors, all the press, prying into his business, he couldn't keep his secret no more. So he officially made a statement, released it to the public, and then less than 24 hours later, he passed at the age of 45.
Yeah, and wasn't there I was trying to remember the name of the group. They did a song called something about "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor."
Oh yeah, Drowning Pool.
Drowning Pool.
Yeah, Drowning Pool. Dave Williams. His nickname was Stage. I guess he got that nickname from the frontman of Pantera there.
Yeah.
I guess he had some. I guess he's had some sort of what was it called? I don't know. I know it was not drug related, but it was something there. I forgot what it was there.
Yeah, and then you had the front man of, what was it, Blind Melon?
Blind Melon, Shannon Hood, who died.
Yeah.
I guess he died in 1995 from heroin.
Yeah.
In fact, as I mentioned, heroin was a big part in the killing off all these alternative musicians there. We also cannot forget a guy named Andrew Wood, who was the frontman of the band Mother Love Bone. They released this one release. They were a Seattle-based band. And when he passed away in 1990, some of the members from that band would eventually cook up with some other members and become known as Pearl Jam.
What about what about the Ramones?
Oh yeah, they're all gone. The original one lineup, they're all gone. I remember seeing something on Facebook that friend of mine from D-Town, actually from Wayne, Michigan there, she put it up, this little thing. It was a cover of Rocket to Russia, I guess it was her second record. And instead of the Ramones, Rocket to Russia, it say gone but never forgotten, because all of them are gone. Joey passed away in 2001. Dee Dee, who lived briefly in Ann Arbor, Michigan, around the 1991-92 period there. He played at a few shows in the Harpo's Concert Theater, some Blue Room venue in Detroit. He also did a couple shows in the Ritz in Roseville with members of Liars, Cheats, and Thieves as his backup band. It was Dee Dee Ramone and the Chinese Dragons. I hung out with them a little bit there, here and there. Got to talk with them. Saw him again with the boys at the Trappers Alley place in downtown Detroit near Greektown. He eventually moved back to eventually moved back to New York City a year later there. I guess the Chinese Dragons decided to carry it on without him until 2002, when he would eventually pass away. Apparently he loved drugs a little bit too much, and Johnny Ramone, a year later, died of cancer.
They used to sniff glue?
I don't know. They were talking. I don't know. They had I don't know what they were doing at that time there. A lot of punk rockers were doing a lot of drugs at that time. We cannot forget we cannot forget Sid Vicious and the whole situation with him, definitely. Yeah. It's no secret. He was a massive heroin addict.
And Styx lost one of their the drummer.
Their drummer, yes. That's right. I think it was John Paliuzzo, I think it was.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember his name. And then
But going back to... Go ahead.
Oh, good. I was going to say then there's Robby Einhardt from Kansas.
Oh, yeah. He was a violin player and a co-vocalist at times there. And we also can... Now, going back to Sid Vicious, the story was him and his girlfriend at the time, Nancy Spungen, they were like, they went to the Chelsea Hotel in New York City, and all of a sudden, they do some heroin, I guess it was.
God.
Yep, because they were both massive addicts there, especially Sid. He apparently got it from his mom.
Sid and Nancy.
Yeah, I know. And then the story was, he wakes up and now finds Nancy dead, blood all over the place. Now, there was a lot of speculation that a couple of drug dealers, when they were suspecting money, and then possibly killed Nancy as a result of that. Or there's a possibility that Sid himself may have killed her in a drunken or a drugged up rage there. Now, he gets arrested. He's in jail there. Now, the first thing he called... Now, what does he want the first thing? More heroin. Why? He's that damn addictive. That's how much that shit will have a fucking grip on you. So he finally, his mom, who never even sought treatment for his son, let alone herself, because apparently she was one herself there. She would apparently, I guess she was waiting on trial for her death there, Nancy Spungen's, and apparently the trial never would happen because she would die of a heroin overdose in 1979.
Oh, yeah. The first time you try heroin, it totally rearranges your brain, so you'll be addicted to heroin forever.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the thing. But yet, her problem is, it's what you have to go through to keep that addiction going there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to this, this one person. I brought up this person, the YR, and Keith there in Arknolia, and it's going to bear repeating. There was this woman named Sylvia, the older sister of this one brothers and sisters family there that I briefly knew time and time again. All of them were having drug issues because of the abuse that their father laid upon them. They saw drugs as a way of comfort, as courage, when you're high, when you're drunk, that bravery comes out, the person you want to be. And at that time, they didn't seek any rehab because, one, it would cost too much, and two, they would feel vulnerable, and they would not, they would feel very vulnerable. They'd be afraid without it. How am I going to be brave? How am I going to be this? Yeah, back then, and plus back then, which was the 70s and 80s when they were growing up, the rule was if you didn't do what all the other kids were doing, you were cast out. Remember the lyric, "Be cool or cast out," that Rush did in '83 there?
Yes.
That's how it was. It wasn't like, be your own person, have your own voice and opinion, have your own ideas as all these, social media outlets and pages encourage nowadays. It wasn't like that, If you didn't follow through with what everyone else was doing, you're like, out the door, kid.
Oh, I have a brain fart, and I'm touching my face for this. What was the name of the song, that Rush song again?
Subdivisions.
Subdivisions. All right,
Yes.
Yeah. That's like probably my favorite song.
Yes, absolutely there. But that line rings true a lot of times. Now these days, it's these little stupid challenges you see on YouTube and TikTok, like sniffing condoms through your fucking nose there, which can also be fatal as well there. Yes. Now, here's something else. This woman, you would steal consistently from supermarkets, convenience stores, 7-Elevens, department stores. Why? Because she wanted to have clothing, food, and such, but she was afraid to use her money because that went to the drugs. As we all know, drug dealers do not take credit cards, food stamp cards, or anything else. They want cold, hard cash. And because they steal so much from these venues, they're not allowed back in here, they're not allowed back in there. And and she kept going to jail. She would get caught. She would spend how many months in prison there, be let out, and repeat the same shit over and over and over. So eventually they had to chart out to different areas where they're not well known. This happened. Now, what happened. The final night was, as I mentioned, the YR, and yes, I'm going to repeat it again before anyone out there paid attention. This woman and a friend was at a Meijer store in Chelsea, Michigan, which is a long while past Ann Arbor on 94 West. They were stealing something there. They were running across I-94 with no overlights ahead. And eventually Sylvia got struck by a car going about either 70 or 80 miles an hour. Boom! They had to remake her for her open casket funeral. When we attended, she did not look recognizable. They had to really redo her there. And when I tried to look down at towards the bottom, towards the other end of the coffin there, I swear I could not see her legs. She was that tore up.
She was on heroin?
Yeah, she was heroin. It was the pursuit of heroin that took her life eventually. No matter how many times other members, her friends, the family would say, "You need to get off this shit. You need to do this." She would say over and over, "I can't stop. It will eventually have a fucking grip on you." Now, I also want to bring up this guy here, Dwayne Rudolph Goetel from the group Skitty Puppy. Nobody knew he was doing heroin the way he was until it was revealed in August of 1995, a month and later after Puppy broke up in June that year. Now, their frontman, Nevek Ogre, who I met many, many times in the past, he remembered me when he played in Houston at the Warehouse Live in 2015 there. Great show from them. He got off drugs in 1992 there after how many issues of abuse there. To find out that one of your members, when she would die from the same stuff that almost took you out, that's going to be like, whoa, dude, that could have been me. And would you think that after watching your frontman go through the issues he had with the big ego H, wouldn't you think to yourself, you know what, I shouldn't be doing this? After what it did to after what it was doing to Ogre and to everyone else within the band, I shouldn't be doing this, man. I would feel like an outright hypocrite, man.
Yeah, and then you got Brad Delp.
Brad Delp from Boston, who took his own life in 2007.
Then you got
which is sad. It's kind of sad because some of the early Boston material, including "Don't Look Back," had this massive positive vibe to that song. You know, like this was a positive. That song had a massive positive feel to it when you look at it there.
Yeah.
And sad that now, now to find out that positive has now turned it over into darkness, it's beyond sad. Very, very sad.
Then you got Badfingers to
Tom Evans, Pete Ham, yes. They were the guys who wrote the song Without You, which could be covered by Harry Nilsson and later Mariah Carey, and also Hart.
Yeah. And then, of course, you mentioned Harry Nilsson. He's gone.
That's right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Warren Zevon.
Warren Zevon, yeah.
The rhythm section of The Who.
That's right. You know, John Entwistle and Keith Moon, probably one of the most badass characters, let alone drummers that there. You could look up a thing that Alice Cooper was talking about, Keith Moon, and some of the crazy antics he did. I mean, this man took hotel room trashing to a whole new level there.
Yeah.
And we also got to clue it in, speaking of drummers, you know, we mentioned Neil Peart of Rush. We also got to throw in John Bonham of Led Zeppelin, who passed away in October of 1980.
YR, check your Skype DMs.
This guy, when they were about to do a tour for a first tour in the U.S. in how many years there, the last time they toured was in 1977, and that was canceled when Plant's son died of a still unknown illness there. Think about that.
Yeah.
And then I guess what it was is he was at Jimmy Page's place there. And I guess what it was is that, boom, all of a sudden, you know, he woke up dead. He was a big beer drinker at that time. I guess the story was he tried to down how much he could down at a certain amount of time there. Eventually did him in. And that, unfortunately, would cause Zeppelin to disband.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as good, and probably just as well, because if they were to get a new drummer, yeah, he sounds good. But is he just as good as John Bonham? There'll be those out there say he's not as good as John Bonham. There'll be those out there who say that, oh, they should just hang it up. He's not John Bonham. That chemistry is gone. That person when that person departs, who brought that certain chemistry to the band, and when that person is gone, that chemistry is going to be ripped up. I mean, another thing with The Who, there are a lot of people saying that The Who should have disbanded when Keith Moon died.
I was going to bring that up. Did we bring up Keith Moon?
That was definitely, because that was a long debate for many rock enthusiasts out there. People saying, you know, they should have broke up when Keith Moon died, but of course they eventually carried on with Kenny Jones on the drum kit there. But eventually, Kenny Jones was a more calm and cooler drummer than what Keith Moon. Whereas Keith Moon was like a madman behind who driving a freight truck.
Check your Skype DMs, YR.
I don't know, Dave Rose. What were you saying about Minnesota show?
Yeah, I think they're starting their show right now.
Oh.
Right.
Well, then we need to, I guess, wrap this one up and pick it up again
On Monday. That's
Monday.
when things go back to normal. When things go back to normal, that's for sure, man.
for our normal.
Yeah, I know. It does. When I'm back to normal eventually, I still gotta head to get to bed early because I'm due at work tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
what
about
time you
6.
get off?
Well, it's supposed to be at about 6:30 there, according to the schedule.
Shit, that's what time I'll be in town. That's what time I'll be in town, bro.
All right,
that's what
there.
time I get in town. So I'll have your Skype open and shit, and we'll.
All right,
hopefully-
everything is always open. My phone, my Skype,
You
my
feeling better
messages.
with your neck and stuff?
Yeah,
You
it's
feeling-
getting there, slowly getting there. Yeah.
So no excuses for tomorrow. We're meeting, right?
All right, hope so, man. I
It's
am
all up
really
to you.
praying.
Hey, it's all
I'm
up to
really-
you.
I
All
know,
up to you.
yeah. I'm really praying, man.
We owe it
I
for
really
the
am.
community. Let's do this for the community. Let's
Absolutely.
blow
Let's do it
Ken-
for each other, man.
Let's
We've
blow
wanting to
Ken and
be-
Tony's meat out of the water. You know what
All
I'm
right,
saying?
there. Well, let's just blow off Tony. We'll blow him out of the water
Yeah,
altogether.
do some
there.
kicks and shit. We'll do some kicks. And then I got that gift for you. I got that gift. Remember?
Oh wow!
Yes.
If I would have known, I would have got you one. It's just a
But no,
shame.
listen, I told Keith, I told you last night, and we were on Bullfrog Show. Keith, tell Dr. Brown, don't tell him the gift, but tell him, like, you know.
You're gonna love it.
All
You're gonna
right.
freak out. You're gonna love it.
All right. So,
You're gonna mark out.
All right,
Mark
there.
out, Brown.
All right. I love
Hell yeah.
this. I can't wait, man. I hope so, man. And it's going to be at. I think we mentioned. Should we mention the location or no?
No location.
Gotcha,
It's a
gotcha.
private
'Cause
location.
And I know which one you're talking about. It's near
Yeah.
the mall.
Right
Yep.
there. But I'll get with
Yeah,
you. I'll get with
tomorrow.
you when we're on the way and shit and everything. And
All right, there.
you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be one for the ages. The first person in the community to meet YR, and you'll have the right to judge me on if, you know, I'm real or, you know, whatever. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
all
'Cause
right,
you
yeah.
actually met
We'll
me in
see.
person. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
absolutely. There. All right. So, is Ark still here? Is he?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, there. Definitely, it's just gonna hopefully, like I said, hopefully everything will go according to plan tomorrow. There.
Oh yeah, on my end, it's all good.
All right,
So,
there.
you know,
Yeah.
even if you have to work late and shit, I'll still be up. I'll be awake. It'll be all right.
Right.
And when we do the thing on Monday, I still want to go over at least 4 tribute songs. Did you
All
guys
right,
get to hear
sure.
Reflections?
I didn't get a chance to.
No.
Unfortunately, there. My bad.
We should have made this episode. We should have made this episode Christmas songs.
Oh, yeah.
All the Christmas
well,
songs.
Oh
that would
yeah.
have been
But
good.
it's all right.
Well, we already mentioned some Christmas songs that
Yeah,
we
that's
can't
what.
stand.
Yeah.
And myself is not a big fan of Christmas music.
Listen,
myself.
we'll make it up. We'll make it up to you. Me and Brown's content tomorrow. We're meet.
All right there.
We're gonna
All right.
hang out. We're gonna chill. We're gonna do some music questions.
All right there.
You know what I'm saying.
All right. Definitely there. All right there. So, are we gonna let's add Real as Fuck TV into the mix?
Yeah, let's
there.
see what he's doing. I said if he wanted to simulcast with me, like I'll go live again after this
Okay.
show. But
I don't know. Just stay on,
he
dude.
was to sit there with fucking 3 people watching. So
All
try
right.
to help.
All right there. Let me add those cats in there.